Hello everyone, my name is Joanne Tolia Singra and I am the host of the Money Talk Show program. We're very much delighted that today's episode is going to be a very good one. Well, in today's episode, we'll be having a lot to discuss about. One of them is how is it good for one to have a healthy money mindset, as well as why is it bad or a bad thing for one to have a negative money mindset. We also have one or another thing that is budget. Why is it important for us to know our budget, how we're going to spend, as well as investment? We have an amazing person that is going to be sharing with us in details what all those three aspects are all about, and I believe that at the end of it all you're going to be able to pick one or two things from it. So I want to thank him for giving us this opportunity to talk to us, to share with us this impactful knowledge that is going to help two or more people outside there.
By names, I am Kaziwe Azari Twaha. I'm a lecturer at Makerere University Business School. As well, I'm a director of the Fraternity Bridge Limited, which deals at training young entrepreneurs on how to run business and how to manage their finances well.
Why is money mindset so important?
We have two categories of people. We have people with a negative money mindset and a positive money mindset. Look at the attitudes, the beliefs that guide your spending and budgeting patterns. Mm-hmm. The money mindset topic is a broad discussion, but basically we are focusing on how people earn, how do they spend, and how do they budget, plus investing their money. You see, in Africa, you find that a lot of people in the formal and informal sector, they have a negative money mindset. It is important for individuals, especially in this country, to learn and be financially literate on how to spend. Look at their spending patterns and their investment patterns, for them to have a beautiful and a good life.
How can one overcome such beliefs?
First of all, you should forgive your financial mistakes. You know, as individuals, we make mistakes sometimes on how we spend. For example, where you rent. You find that individuals work and where they rent, maybe they went looking for a house and the house looked good for them. They rent an expensive house which doesn't match their salary. Maybe something has looked good and they want to try it in terms of food, they go spend, they lack spending patterns. So the first step, if you want to attain what we call a positive financial mindset, is forgiving your past mistakes, learning from your past mistakes. Maybe you had acquired a house, you had rented a house because it looked good for you, but you find that when you look at your salary, you can't afford such a house. The first thing is that you learn from your financial mistakes, your past mistakes. Secondly, you should realize that comparing yourself to others is a losing game. You know, one of the problems we have here in Africa that actually drags us to having a negative mindset, that drags us to poor planning, is comparing ourselves to others. You as an individual, you should budget yourself and have a good plan. You should learn as an individual that the game of comparison is a losing game. Yeah. Therefore, when you get your salary, when you get your income, let's say in the informal sector, you should make sure that you budget. Make sure you budget your finances very well.
Yeah, but I think even to add on that you've said, most of the youth have gone so much astray due to comparison. You know, someone would see, maybe someone has posted something on social media, maybe I've bought a certain car, maybe I've built a house, and this one has done nothing for the whole year. So they be pressurized that, why is this one running a faster speed and yet I'm doing nothing on it? So if at the end of the day, they affect their mindset, thinking that they can easily acquire money at a speedier rate than them taking it slow or step by step.
Yeah, that's what youth think, but what you should know that comparison can never be accurate. However much you wish and you would like to compare yourself to someone else, comparison will never be accurate. You will die in your game. So it is important for the youth, as I told you, that forgive your past mistakes, learn from your past mistakes, then you realize that comparison It's not a healthy game. And you also work on forming or transforming your bad habits into good behaviors. You see that when you plan as an individual, it will give you, when you plan as an individual, you'll be able to track your expenditure. You'll be able to know where and when to invest. That's what we lack here. And what we do in Fraternity Bridge and at Makerere University, we teach individuals how to manage their finances well, how to plan, how to seek on their plan, what really to think, what perspective should you view money. You see, rather than comparing yourself to others, when you follow the rules of money, you will develop what we call a positive mindset.
So as you said earlier that you teach your students at Makerere University on how to manage the finances. So what role does that financial education help on those students at the end of the day?
There is what we call the money rule. It says that 50% of your salary, of the amount you earn, should cater for your needs. 20% of the amount you earn should be of savings and your wants. Then 30%, the 30%, when you have 50%, 20%, then the 30% will be of your other necessities, maybe in life. You want to have a good life. I'm not saying that, in Africa we fear to budget. People think that when you make a budget, you're confining yourself, you're restricting yourself from a good life, which is not the way. Budgeting only helps you to track how you spend, to track how you invest, and to track how you grow your personal finances. Therefore, here we teach people on how to budget. If you have a good budget, that will help you grow your personal finances as an individual.
What habits could they adopt?
Like I said before, there are 6 steps I can give our dear viewers they should follow to adopt that, what you call a positive money mindset. Firstly, I said they should forgive their past financial mistakes. If you made a mistake last year, in 2024, you shouldn't repeat the same mistake this year. Learn from your mistakes. If you were maybe renting a house very expensive because of a friend, learn from your mistakes. Secondly, you should understand that comparison is not a healthy game. Comparison can never be accurate. Thirdly, work on forming good habits. Good habits. For example, you find that here in Africa, people earn money, but because of the poor habits like lack of a budget, impulsive demand, they buy things they don't really need, but just because they have they have watched maybe on TV, they have been persuaded to buy. Another thing I can say that to have a positive mindset, individuals should create things that bring them joy. When you're creating your budget, make sure that you create a budget that brings you joy. However much you're talking about budgeting, but don't confine yourself in the budget. Try to create a budget that brings you joy. Like I said, 50% 50% of your salary should be on personal needs, things you want. Understand? Lastly, remember to be thankful. Whenever you budget and you stick to the plan, do this exercise every day. When you buy something, record down. When you spend over something, record down. Start doing this exercise. That will help you track your expenditure. In a day when you're successful, you have tracked your expenditure successfully, be thankful to God and stick to that plan. With that, we shall have a transformed Uganda, and people will their mindsets will be transformed.
So our dear guests, there's something I really wanted you to clarify to the public. What is the importance of budgeting? And what are some key principles for having or for creating an effective budget?
The key importances and principles of having an effective budget. One of the reasons why you should have a budget, to have control over your finances. Remember, when you have a budget, you will know how much you spend and where you spend such money.
Yes.
So, one of the upper hand, one of the power you gain as an individual through budgeting is having control over your money. Secondly, the budget helps you to avoid debt. If you budgeted, let's say you earn 1 million and you have
You
a
ensure you
very,
stick with the budget or
Yeah.
living within your means.
yeah, you have a budget to follow. It helps you. Actually it protects you from unnecessary spending.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you could have spent over what you have, maybe buying things on credit. But if you have a very effective budget, you will avoid such debts. Thirdly, emergency preparedness. If you budget your finances well, you will be, let's say you have a particular amount of money you save for emergencies. You will be prepared for any emergency that comes your way. Another advantage of having a budget, you as an individual, reduces stress. If you, let's say if I use Uganda as an example, if you have a budget, you'll know how much to spend on rent. Secondly, you know how much to spend on utilities, where to invest, what to invest on, what to buy this month. You reduce on your stress than any other formal man, any other layman who doesn't budget. Thirdly, when you have a budget, it improves your financial decisions. Like you said, many people here, we have what we call impulsive demand. People go to the market and buy what they didn't
Intend to buy.
But if you stick on budget, you will make what you call informed decisions. You will make what you call improved financial decisions. And thirdly, maybe lastly, not thirdly, but budget. This is also a very good thing about budgeting. It helps you build your savings. When you budget, you'll budget what to spend and what to save. So in a due time, you will have enough savings. It will grow your savings capacity. You can't grow your saving capacity when you don't budget.
So does still budgeting take us to the 50-30 rule?
If you want to have a successful budget, a good budget, an achievable budget, is educate yourself.
Be
Financial
aware.
literacy.
Be aware, okay.
Financial literacy. Know what to use money for and know when to spend and what to spend on. Financial education is very important. That comes with where to invest, how much to save, when to save, and a lot of things. Thirdly, create what we call an emergency fund. If you're saving for, if you're investing, you're saving, let's say you want to buy land, you want to buy a car, you want to do something, you're saving up to for something. However much you have a saving, that your saving account, as well as have some emergency fund. When you're saving for your, let's say you want to buy land, when you're saving for land, as well as keep some small amount of money or keep some money for emergency, such that when you get an emergency, it doesn't affect your budget.
So what are those common mistakes people make where they try to stick on those budgets?
Some of the common mistakes people make when trying to stick to budgets, we have excessive debt. You find an individual, you said you have a goal and you're sticking to your budget, but you're excessively borrowing money from institutions, from banks, let's say, from individuals. If you're excessively borrowing, you won't be able to stick to your budget. So it's a common mistake that you find people having budgets they follow, they condemn that they are sticking on them, but they are excessively borrowing money. That's a mistake. If you budget yourself, make sure you stick to the plan. You're claiming to have a budget, but you're not tracking your spending. You have gone to buy, let's say, to purchase something in town. You purchase other things. You didn't. You impulsively purchase other things. So one of the mistakes is not tracking your spending. But trust me, if you track your spending, you'll be able to meet your budget. If you track your spending, you'll be able to meet your budget. Another common mistake, like you said, you budgeted for something and you go and you feel that the budget is not enough, is having an unrealistic budget. people come up with budgets which are unrealistic. And remember, prior I told you that for a budget to be effective, make sure you have a smart budget. Should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound.
Yeah.
But you find individuals come up with unrealistic budgets. Someone earning 1 million Ugandan shillings and they want to save 700,000 a month. They're not looking at necessities, they're not looking at wants, they're not looking at emergencies. So when you're coming up with a budget, be realistic. Be realistic. So one of the common mistakes we make in budgeting is having unrealistic budgets. Our budgets are not smart. Yeah.
So how can one balance the 50-30 rule?
Like you said, the 50-30-20 rule of spending says that it recommends putting 50% of your money towards needs, 30% towards wants, and 20% towards savings. When I mention about needs, I mean the utilities, things someone can't live without.
Yeah.
Water, food, shelter, clothing. So,
Medication.
remember I told you, for you to have an effective budget,
Smart.
it has to be smart. And I told you that, you asked me about the 50% rule. 50% of your budget should go or should focus on your needs.
Okay, so things that I cannot live without.
Yeah, therefore when budgeting, create a budget that brings you joy. Don't constrain yourself into that budget. Don't restrict yourself too much. Make sure that your budget is realistic. 30% should be on your wants. Using a 1 million income, 50%, you should rent, your rent should be at 50%. The rent, the clothing, the food, all that, 50%. So if you're earning 1 million, you should get a house, you buy clothes, food, all that fall under the 50%. That will be 500,000. Then 30% should be at the wants. There are things you want.
I want to buy a watch.
You want to buy a watch, you want to drive a car, there are things you want. Like I told you, create a budget that brings you joy. Don't constrain yourself so much. Sometimes you would want to go out with friends. That's the 30%. Then make sure the 20% at our 1 million, that is the 200,000. You invest it, you save it. The more you save, the more you grow your saving capacity, the more you grow your financial muscle and become financially independent.
Okay. So what tools would you maybe recommend to our dear viewers to use for tracking their expenses and also maintaining a proper budget?
Yeah. Now in Africa, you're finding that, particularly in Uganda today, we are going digital. We are going digital. People should adapt buying using credit cards, buying using Visa cards. You can go to the bank. We have services at the bank. You can go to the bank and tell them to send you notifications, maybe when you purchase, when you withdraw money, as that will help you track your savings.
Expenses.
You can use notifications. You can carry out what they call online transactions. Secondly, you can manually record these things.
Like bookkeeping?
As an individual, develop a behavior. When you go to buy something, record down. Every day, sit down as an individual, try to track your spending pattern. How has been my spending pattern today? How much did I spend on which? Manually record down what you have been spending. Yeah.